Hey, everybody, and welcome to another live episode of The Grid. My name is Scott Kelby. We are joined by our special in-studio guest, Michael Corsentino. Michael, welcome to the show.
Good to be here, Scott. Thanks for having me.
How you doing, man?
Doing great, thank you.
So I'm stalking you on Instagram, right?
I see that. That's pretty cool. I'll take it.
Well, you do a lot of cool stuff. It's great to be able to do that. RC's not here today, so we're going to do blind photo critiques with no RC. It's sad.
He's doing a workshop.
He is. Yeah. He's in Dallas doing a workshop today, and RC loves to be here to crush people's hopes and dreams. But so he's
Today,
sad.
that's my job.
Today we've asked Michael to do it, and so today for our blind photo critiques, I requested when we did this, since Michael's an expert at lighting and flash and stuff like that. In fact, he's here doing a class for Kelby 1 on the Canon 600. RT? EXRT, which is the their top end flash that's got a built-in wireless to it.
And a lot of letters.
Yeah. Anyway, but he's here. But you know who else is here? And he's darn beautiful. You know him, you love him, Mr. Brad Moore.
What's going on, everybody?
Hi, Braddy.
How are you?
Brad, I'm not sure they did the lighting the way they should have today.
Why?
Because you usually look spectacular. Like the beard has got a skim light, and it's not really doing it today.
Oh, he's a sharp
I'm
looking
sorry,
dude.
but I look fantastic no matter what light I'm in, Scott.
See that?
That's a good point.
There you go.
Good point. You don't rely on the light as a crutch, and
Right.
I appreciate that. Anyway, good to have you here, Brad. You're moderating the comments today?
Yep, I am.
All right. We need to get right to work. So we asked a bunch of photographers to submit images today about portraits and stuff, and we had a bunch of photographers do just that.
Fantastic.
And we're going to let Michael take the lead on this since he is an expert on the topic, and I'll just be adding my comments on top of his. One thing I told Michael, and we're going to remind you guys, is the goal of this show is, number one, is not to embarrass anybody. That's why they're called blind photo critiques.
Wait, what? No embarrassing?
No, we don't embarrass them by name.
Oh,
We
I
certainly
see.
embarrass them, but it's a private embarrassment. It's not a public humiliation,
All right, fair
and
enough.
that's different.
Okay.
That's a little bit of.
All right.
So we're not going to mention anybody's name. If you put a watermarker here, of course, then everybody will know.
Busted.
But outside of that, and the reason why we wanted to not say your name is so we can be truthful with you and tell you straight up and not embarrass you. The goal is to try to make you better, but very few people will ever tell you what they really think of your photographs. And so our job is to
Crush you.
Not to crush you, to help you, Michael.
I'm kidding.
Michael,
Well, you
you're
said
so.
RC was the
I was
resident
going to say
crusher. I'm the
you're so
guest
RC
crusher.
today.
Yeah.
You're so RC. One more thing today. Shout out to my friends in the UK. This is not a Target. This is the British Air Force insignia.
All right.
Oh wait, Brad says
Okay.
something. Brad wants.
Speaking of our British friends, happy birthday, Glenn Dewis.
That's right. It's Glenn Dewis' day. Hey, Brad, can we sing him
Glenn.
happy birthday? You
Go
know
for
Glenn
it.
Dewis,
I
don't you?
sure do. He's
Let's sing him
awesome.
happy birthday. It's
Go for it.
Glenn. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Glenn. Happy birthday to you. Oh, I trashed that harmony. All right. Glenn, one of the best guys on the planet. Happy birthday. Hope you're having a great time wherever you are. I hope it's not in jail. Okay, let's get to work. So Michael, I'm going to take you quickly through a few of these images.
Are they here too?
They're going to be there. They're going to be
Okay.
there where we are. And the Brad's screen is turned off. Maybe someone will turn it on.
Okay.
Brad has his own screen. It's a big one, but it's off. It's like off, super off. So anyway, here we go. We're going to look at 5 images, and I'll just take you through them real quick, Michael, and we'll see what we think here. There's 1, 2, 3, baby. Sorry, 4, 5. And so we'll go back here. Baby. All right. So thoughts, overall thinking, anything?
Well, I want to say this is probably going to be the strongest one of the bunch.
Agreed.
Although I think it's got a lot of good things going on, but let's talk about what's not working to start with. The compositionally, I think it could be a lot stronger. The sort of centralized placement of the subject is sort of neither here nor there. Like it's not center, and it's not working if it was centered, and it's not rule of thirds, kind of off-centered. So it's neither here
Can't
nor
find
there.
the, image.
And
I
now
was
it's black. This is my favorite part of the image.
I was going to
actually.
crop it, but it went black. Now when I go to the library module, it's there. And when I go to develop, it just turns black. So I can't crop it for you. Sorry, I was going to crop
right.
it. Wow.
That's odd.
That is
Yeah.
odd.
Okay, so I'd like to see a little bit more rationale or thought behind the placement of the subject, either in cropping or in camera. I like the lighting. I like the expression. I think that one of the things that I look for in a portrait, that when I'm creating it or when I'm looking at a portrait, I want that portrait to inform me, to tell me something about the subject, to convey some sort of emotion, something maybe I didn't know about the subject, some kind of emotion. It can be a number of things, but at least this image has some emotion to it. It's non-camera aware, which I really like. It looks like it's a natural moment. She's not looking at the camera, which is what I mean by non-camera aware. It's an interesting perspective. Oftentimes what happens is if you take a picture at eye level, it's kind of a drag because we're all used to seeing that. It looks kind of the sameness to the image. But if you change up that perspective and you get really low or you get really high up, it's the different angle really changes it up and makes it very compelling and interesting. So a lot of good things going on here. And I also like the amount of ambient light that's coming in mixed with the flash as well. It's got a nice feel. The flash could be a little softer, but it's okay. I mean, if it's a brassy look that you want, you're getting it. And like I say, a lot of good things going on here.
I like the brassy comment. That's a good, because I always look for that when the light looks like flash.
Right.
So that's brassy is a good word for that. Now let me ask you a question. So something that really stood out to me in this picture was that the grass is really well lit. How do you feel about that? Should they have darkened that down or something, or does that not bother you at all? The fact that the grass is obviously lit by the same flash.
It doesn't bother me tremendously. I mean, you could, of course, throw a grid on the flash and tighten up that beam, and it would just be a different photograph.
Or we could fix it in post if we could click on the develop module. I wonder if I could take it over to Photoshop real quick and see if we can fix it there. Oh, that wasn't a plug.
There we go.
All right, so
it didn't go dark.
No, but let's just say that we, like, for example.
You could throw a vignette on there.
Well, I don't know. I think I would maybe just go and either pull with the adjustment brush, make sure the mask isn't turned on, and just pull some of this stuff around her back.
Sure.
Oh, a shot up there. Sorry, that's just bad.
It's a windmill. Just add a windmill.
But just some of this stuff here.
Sure.
Just to kind of tone it down a bit. Because I don't know why you would want the grass lit. Oh, my flow's down. I'm like, why am I made to paint over it 10 times because my flow was low. You don't want your flow to get low.
less works. I like some of it because it sort of tells a story about where it is.
Well, here's the
Speaks to
thing.
location.
And I wouldn't make it completely black. In fact, I probably would pull maybe this back a little bit. But look at the difference from where it was. It was pretty bright. So just backing it off a bit. Okay, but that doesn't bother you. But can I tell you something? So I agree with you on this shot. There's some good things here and there's some stuff where. What happened here?
Yeah, this shot, I would have left this one out from the grouping and not my favorite. Seeing the one prior to this one, just
this
because,
is pretty good.
Right, but we've got similar things happening in terms of horizon line, but the horizon line is kind of just skimming the top of her head, and she's not looking toward the camera.
It's crooked
she's looking
as
away.
anything. It's crooked.
Right, and if you want to do this sort of girl in the field, kind of classic painterly kind of image, I would have a lot more field, and she's a lot smaller in the field. The horizon line is straighter. The field occupies a lot more space, maybe comes up higher, so you've got just a little hint of the sky, and she's maybe laying in the grass or something, but again, it would be a different photograph. But I think that compositionally and lighting and engagement-wise, that first photograph had a lot more going on.
Yeah. You know what else, too? And I would say this to the photographer, because I agree with everything you said, but you gave a lot of technical reasons why it's messed up, like the horizon line going through her head and it being crooked and all that. And you're right. For the type of picture that they were going for, you would need something that had a wider, more epic, she's smaller. But I would say this is not a very flattering picture to your subject. This is this is not flattering. If you look at the posing and the body position and things like that, I think at the end of the day, I mean, we want to make interesting work, but you want to flatter your subject, and I don't think that really does it. This is a cute baby. Ooh, yeah, baby.
It is a cute baby, and I don't want to be the anti-baby person, but it's just basically it's a baby picture.
Yeah, it's a cute baby.
It's a cute baby. I think this picture is going to have a lot more meaning to the person whose baby it is.
Yeah, the parent or the grandparent.
Right, than to the casual observer.
Yeah, I wouldn't enter this in a photo contest or anything because it's really, it's a cute baby, and a lot of babies are cute. Okay.
I like this. This is an interesting image. You have to be careful with tilting. Tilting is a dicey thing. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Here, I could go either way. just be careful with tilting. I'm not 100% sold on it in this image. Also, be careful with vignettes. The vignette in this image looks a little obvious.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really hard on the vignettes. It's one of my little bugaboos. Be really subtle with your vignettes.
Yeah.
You know?
So, Michael, I did a tutorial on this, and where I basically said, here's the amount I use, and I use only -11 out of 100, because when you put it on, you can't see that it's a vignette, but it just takes the focus away from the corners. It's really, really subtle. You wouldn't even be able to look. I don't think in most of the time you'd even be able to look and know that I did it, unless I showed you the before.
Right, exactly.
This one, it's very obvious. There's like a circle in the middle of the. Take a look at the photo again.
Right.
You can see the circle right where here is the vignette.
Right.
And so it's
It
very
screams
obvious.
vignette.
Right.
You look at it and you're like, oh,
Right.
vignette. But I like the silhouette, and again, I like the silhouette in this one. Silhouettes are great to play with, and I like the fact that, but the shape of the body is kind of odd.
It is. Nice. The profile looks
Profile's
nice.
great.
And I wish I could go to the develop module and show you, because I would crop it in. I don't know what's going on. Let's just go see. Does it show up in slideshow? It does. Does it show up in the print module? It does. Does it show up in the develop module? No. That's just the oddest thing. Well, you know what? When we go to break, I'll restart
Okay.
Lightroom and see. Hey, so we have a question. Neuronal photo. I'm trying to work out their name here. Neuronal photog asked. Brassy makes a statement first and then asks the questions. Brassy translates for me into either brass colored or ordinary. What do they mean? They're asking.
Neither.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean either of those things. Brassy means specular, contrasty, poppy,
Yeah.
punchy.
Flashy.
Those words, flashy.
Right. It's
Right.
just there's a lot of words that we use in photography. Like when I put a hair light at a 45-degree angle behind my subject, we call it a kicker light. We go, you put a kicker behind her. Kicker really means to walk up and kick kick the light or kick something, kick a ball. A
Right.
kicker is the person on the football team that does the kickoff.
Right.
But we have a lot of words that we take, and I think brassy is actually a very good word to just. That's why I pointed it out, because that first shot that we looked at looked a little overlit. It didn't look like, you wouldn't look at that shot and go, oh, is that natural light or flash? Right. It's flash.
Right.
It's brassy.
Right.
It's in your face. It's kind of, that kind of. I love that word. I'm gonna use that one, Michael. I got to tell you about that flash. It's a little brassy. All right. So hopefully that. So if you had some advice to give this photographer overall, looking at their 5 pictures, what advice would you give them?
I would work on composition. I think that composition, and I would work on incorporating everything that's going on in that first image overall into the others, and to be much more diligent with your editing. Like when you're picking images to show, take no prisoners. They're no sacred cows. You have to be really, really tough when you're editing. When you look at your images, you have to just be full on and be really hard on yourself.
All right, very good. All right, let's take a look here. We have some interesting photos here. Let's take a look here.
Ooh, these are cool. These are in my wheelhouse.
Here's number 1, number 2, number 3.
Ooh, which one of these does not like the other?
I know, number 4 and number 5. So that's them overall.
Okay.
So can I just say something just to start off? I think that's a really unusual, cool pose for that outfit.
Yep.
Like she's like on point doing ballet in this rock and roll leather kind of outfit. I just think that's kind of cool, but I'll let you do the rest. I thought that was kind of unusual. You don't see that this is something you will see quite a lot, and that fits the pose. That's just different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's hard having seen all of them, then having seen this one and the others.
I'm gonna make these a little bigger. Here we go.
The first 2 are definitely in my wheelhouse, and they appeal to me aesthetically. I like what's going on with them. I like the lighting. I like the posing. They're different. They've got a fashion sensibility. If we look at the first one, though, that first black and white, the lighting could be a little bit more dialed in on the background. Like I'm not sure what's going on there on the blowaway background. Be careful when you're lighting your backgrounds. You really want to have an evenly lit background, or else it kind of stands out. Especially in this sort of image where you're looking for that clean white sweep, where you're like, oh well, wait a second, what's going on there in that on the left hand corner? What is that?
Right over here.
Right. So that jumps out at me, and and I'm not loving that. Also, the base of the chair is really, really light compared to everything else in terms of the grid that is holding up the model. It looks like it's a little blown out, maybe. I'd like to see that a little bit, the graphic lines there, perhaps a little stronger. Maybe you want to spray paint that black or do something just to tie it in.
Oh, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
With this outfit. I love the outfit. It's fantastic. The lighting I could be a little bit more directional, I think, on the model. You've got all this cool black and white drama happening and contrast happening, but there's very little contrast to the lighting. So I'd perhaps like to see a little bit more drama and contrast.
Which is
to the
interesting
lighting.
because look at the next one. Now the next
Right.
one's got a lot of the contrasty lighting, shadows on the other side of the face.
And I love this image. I think this is fantastic. This is definitely a cut above the last image.
Yeah. I just hit so in Lightroom, if you ever want to see what it would look like as a black and white, if you press the letter V as in Victor, it just gives you a real quick black and white. And I do this a lot because sometimes you're thinking, well, her hair is so red and it's so awesome, but I wonder what it looked like as a black and white. If you press the letter V, it makes it black and white. If you don't like it, press the letter V again, goes back to color. And I kind of like it as a black and white.
Yeah.
It's really, I know that you want it because of the color of her hair.
With that kind of cross-process
Right, with
effect. It's nice, but I think the overriding thing with these two images that are the strength of these images is that there's a concept behind them, and that's so important. This is the photographer thought about creating these images. They picked an outfit. They decided an attitude for the lighting, which is what the first image is kind of lacking a little bit. That's what it's all about with this kind of imagery. When you're doing fashion and portrait work, you want to have an attitude. What are you trying to say with your image? And that's going to go to your lighting and your posing and the outfit and the environment that you shoot it in, all of those things. So bravo for this.
Dude, well done. All right. So what happened here?
Yeah, this is, this nice vacation picture.
Yep, a couple of your friends
Right.
grabbed your phone.
But in all seriousness, if you're going for a kind of editorial catalog
Lifey
look, which is
style look,
lifestyle, which I think is what this is kind of aspiring to, I'm not getting it.
Nah, cutting off his foot.
Right. And the lighting, you're going to want to scrim this kind of thing in most cases. And you're going to want to pop in a little fill flash, unless you're doing really high-key kind of fashion stuff. But then the background's going to have to help you. You're going to have to be on sort of a Santorini white background. You're going to have some cool graphic stuff, graphical architectural elements happening. None of that is really happening here. It looks like an attempt at a kind of Lucky Jeans catalog, lookbook kind of image. But it's not, that doesn't have any cool toning. It doesn't have attitude. There's just a lot. It just looks like a test shot.
You know what it doesn't? It doesn't look like the photographer that took these shots
Right.
is the same person. This looked like their friend on the set took this one.
Right.
And while I kind of like the attitude on the guy and the weird thing. I don't know what to say. I kind of like the guy, but I don't know what to say after that, Michael.
Yeah, I like the guy, but it's interesting. You have two kinds of photographs. You have supporting images and you have standalone images. To me, this looks like part of a supporting image for an editorial. Like if you had a bunch of other images to support this image and to play as part of a story, this perhaps could work. But as a standalone image, I don't really get a lot from this. It doesn't really say something where I say, oh yeah, you know what? This tells me X, Y, and Z about this person. Like I know that it sort of looks like a goofball kind of shot. I'm not really sure what's going on with the headgear. Are they earmuffs? Like why is he wearing the cutoff gloves? Is he a rock and roller? Is he just kind of a goofball? Like I don't really know what to make of it.
Huh, good point. And this is from left field.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with being derivative, but this looks sort of like an attempt at kind of a Sue Bryce kind of thing. It doesn't really work for me in a lot of ways. It doesn't work in the terms of and it's got some classical elements, kind of painterly. I like the fact that the lighting is kind of subdued and very, very soft, and you really can't tell. There's not much direction to it. And again, it's not that brassy, overly lit look, but at the same time, it seems like it's gone too much the other way. There's not really any attitude. It's too dark. I can't really see it. The eyes are dead. There's some sparkly bits and stuff in the hair and the chest, but they're not really playing a role. Nothing is really keying in a dominant way. It's all just kind of mush together. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way.
Right.
I appreciate that there's an effort and that there's a concept and that the person chose fabric and just came up with a concept and art directed it, but I just don't feel like it's
not
gelling.
working. Yeah,
Right.
it's not working. So we have a couple of comments here. Jock's Photo asks, does brassy imply warm light too? I think it's about the volume of light,
Right.
not the color. I think what you're thinking when you think brassy is like you're thinking of a brass instrument.
Right. People are keying in on that term. It's interesting. Again, to clarify, what I mean by brassy is just contrasty, punchy.
Harshness, yeah.
Harshness, volume, like you're saying, a volume of light.
Yeah.
More than, brass color.
Yeah.
Right.
Johann Stoop asks, Scott, if you would have lit the first two photos, what would you have used? I would have just used one light. I probably would have used something like a deep octa or a very large softbox. I would have positioned it to where there was a very obvious shadow, but I would have pulled it, like, can we go back? See the shadow that's kind of halfway in her face, right? It's just, this one's much better. This one's just flat.
Right.
This photo looks like you could have shot it almost with a ring flash or something. It's just, this looks like the light was directly in front of the photographer and he kneeled down and shot through it.
Right.
Or shot under it. It's just very flat looking. It's not bad, but it's not, the light isn't doing anything for your subject, and neither is the position of her neck. If she'd have been looking up, I think it would have stretched her jawline. It would have
picked
been
up on the leg, the angle. Of the leg,
the angle of the leg. It would have been a lot more flattering to her. But I think what you want is some depth and dimension, and there's no depth and dimension in this shot. I would have put one large, like a deep octa or something, or like a big bronze color. Everybody, all the fashion photographers use that big giant bronze color.
Beauty dish.
Or a big dish, yeah, big dish. How about what the new Ellen Chrome one just came out with? They come out with some. What's the
light
one?
Motives? The light
Yeah,
motives.
yeah, the big
Those are
light
awesome.
motives, right?
Those are
So
awesome.
something like that, and I would have had it to one side. So we're now here. This one isn't nearly as bad, but the interesting thing is when it's the positioning of the light here. So it.
Can you put both of them up?
Oh yeah, side by side. I can. I've got this program. Oh hey, there we go. But let's go back. There we go.
So I just want to pick up on what Scott's saying. So the thing that we're both talking about here is, when Scott says position of light, we're talking about direction. A more acute angle to the position of the light is going to introduce more shadow. That's just one of the key components of light. The more angle, the more direction that you have, the more shadow you're going to introduce. That's all. It's that simple.
And the shadow creates that depth and dimension
And
that's missing, and drama that's missing on the one on the right. And it is But here's what's interesting. Can I tell you what I think is wrong with this photo, lighting wise? And this is since you asked, is the lighting is not. What's the word? I had just had the word on my appropriate for her outfit and the pose that she's in. It's too soft and too nice. This would be a very pretty window light kind of look. Take a look at like here in her face. Take a look in here where it's really, really soft over here and all. This would be a very pretty portrait-y light, but this isn't a very pretty portrait-y shot.
Yeah, harder light would be better.
I would just, and a different position, I think, for the light. A different angle, as Michael was saying. And I would like to see, like, if you go back to my camera here, I would like to see the shadow way over here, right? Instead of kind of soft here and going there, I want to see like her face. If you go look at some of the work of some big fashion photographers.
Like Rankin.
Yeah, well, we don't have to go that far. Let's come back a little. Go look at even like Lindsay Adler or somebody who's doing a lot of fashion. Dixie Dixon or somebody.
Dixie's great.
They're going to light the face, and there's going to be this nice. You know what? Fashion lighting, if you look at it, is very consistent, and the lighting actually is very, very simple. They're not usually setting up 20 lights unless they're lighting the background. A lot of times it is one main light, and a lot of times it's that big bronze color, right? But everyone's kind of using that big, deep kind of octa thing at this point. But
you can do so much with one light.
You really can. And I think that's what it is the shot on the right is flat. The shot on the left is too nice. The lighting is too portraity. I want to make a bride look nice, not I want to make somebody in leather doing a fashion shoot look nice.
Although it's the right direction.
Yeah, it's way better than this.
But it needs more direction. It needs more attitude, more contrast, and more specular
And I still
light.
think I like it better in black and white.
Really?
Well, yeah, I know you're looking at the red hair. The red hair is really good, but I think especially next to the other one.
Red and the
you know what it
green
is?
together. I like the toning.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
very Marvel, DC comic.
Okay, you win. We're going to take a short break. We're going to look at more images here in just a moment. Stick around. You're live with us. It's Wednesday. It's The Grid.
Come
Don't
on
go
back.
away.
Hey guys, welcome to Kelby One. My name is Frank Doroff, and we did an awesome class on working on location. Now, working on location is not just dragging your strobes on location and just winging it. It's planning, it's looking for the right angles, maximizing your scene, making sure you have converting verticals, leaning lines, lighting, everything is important. So we went to some beautiful locations, including Amsterdam. So check out my class on Kelby One on shooting models on location.
Hi Kelby One, I'm John Keatley. Welcome to my West Seattle studio. Today I'm going to be sitting down with Mia and we're going to be talking about key concepts for running a successful, thriving business for photographers.
We're also going to go over what John's exact yearly income is and how he spends every dollar, even the profits.
But not really, right?
Well, then we're going to get all of the cell phone numbers for the biggest VIPs that work for the biggest brands that he shoots for.
I'm not doing that.
And finally, we are going to show you how he uses his dog to hypnotize major clients in meetings.
Are we rolling? Is this for real?
Come
or
on, it's going to be fun.
Are we going to do that again?
I was just watching. It was the first time I saw that trailer there for John's class coming up. So I was.
I like that little pooch. He's,
Oh, it was wild. It was going to look like it's going to be an interesting class. Anyway, Michael. Michael's here. We are looking at blind critiques. Thank you guys so much. Hey, just want to mention I'm giving away a free ticket today on the show. Boom. And over on my Facebook page for my seminar next Tuesday in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to move my mic closer.
nice.
Arizona, zona. So next, I'm doing my Shoot Like a Pro Reloaded. So if you went to my Phoenix tour last year, this picks up where the other one left off. It's a whole new tour, so I hope you'll come out. And if not, just go to my Facebook page, which is facebook.com, and I'm S. Kelby, like Skelby. Or we're giving away one on the grid today. We're also giving away as prizes
Prizes.
this one, the #1 best-selling digital photography book right now on Amazon.com today. Boom! It's How Do I Do That in Lightroom, the new book by Scott Kelby. And Scott is one of my favorite authors. I buy every single
one of them.
thing that
Yep,
he does.
twice.
And also a copy of Corey's Down and Dirty Tricks for Designers. Now, hi, Juan. Hi. So why are we giving away a book for designers? So here's the thing. While it's called for designers, every trick in here starts with a photo or multiple photos. So if you're a photographer, you will learn a ton, and there's all kinds of great stuff in there. So it's named for designers. It should have been just Down and Dirty Tricks. Okay, let's continue. We've had a couple of good ones. Michael has given some incredibly insightful stuff. Let's look at
sir.
our next photographer here.
Let's
We
rock it.
turned in 5 photos, and I also restarted. Hey, let's see if it worked. I restarted Lightroom, and let's go to the develop module with any luck. Hey, it worked. The old restart fixed it. Okay, here we
There
go.
you go.
So we got a couple shots here. All right. Overall thoughts? Anything?
Great. Well, it looks like it's a safe bet that this person's concentration is senior portrait photography. I'm going to say that this photographer needs to work on their lighting. If we start with this image, the direction of the light, it looks like it's really illuminating the floor. More
Yeah,
than
I was just going to
anything
go
else.
and paint over the floor, because why do you want the floor to be brighter than her face?
Right. I do like the fact that there's detail being held in the white dress. That's good. You're not blowing it out, which is good. But there could be more happening in terms of the direction of the light, in terms of where it is, the position of the light, the height of the light.
It's real flat looking,
The attitude
too.
of the light, exactly. It's very flat. There's no separation around the back. You could benefit from another light around the camera right side to give a nice separation on that hair. Maybe can we point to that? Yeah, right there.
Right there.
Right behind her, pointing at her hair would be really awesome. That's going to help give you some separation. Right in there.
Look, we're relighting her.
Pose-wise, it's not
It's not a flattering pose.
Yeah, but what I do like is, and agreed, it's not the most flattering. However, one of the good things is that you do have space where her back arm, and the back of her back, you can see that, which is going to help thin.
Right.
It will thin a person, that's one of the few positives in that pose.
Yeah, usually people don't like it when you ask them to stick their stomach way out.
Right.
And there are not many people that are going to go, oh, that looks great the way you have me stick my stomach out. I don't think most people would be super digging that.
Right. Also, it looks like this is clearly a ballerina, someone who has dance shoes on it. So I'd like to see them dancing. I want to see them, doing something. And there's one of the images that I brought with from my portfolio is a stroboscopic dancer image. So hopefully we'll get to look at that. But I would just, have some more attitude to your lighting. Engage with your subjects. It looks a little stiff.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see more engagement going on.
Yeah. Here's a quick before and after. I darkened the floor and I brightened up her hair. So there's...
Right, big difference.
Yeah, you should never have like the floor be lit more than her face. It's you're supposed to, your eye's drawn to the brightest thing in the photo. It shouldn't be drawn to her feet or the floor. It should... And a secondary light would do better than doing it in Photoshop later, but it at least does help the hair a little bit.
Right.
All right, and so...
The other thing is a grid can help on that light,
yes.
just to confine that light and keep
Right.
the spill off the
so
floor.
it doesn't spill, yeah.
Right. Then you may have to light the dress separately, but in any event, it's gonna take care of that floor issue. Okay, on to this one. Okay, compositionally, I think it needs work. It's got some interesting things going on. I like the fact that the football player is holding out the ball, and that's kind of cool. It's kind of giving an interesting perspectival deal. But I want that more dramatic. There's a lot of extraneous space happening that is unnecessary. I like the fact that there's some dimension and direction to the light. It's giving it some attitude. I think that this kind of image would really benefit from a bleach bypass kind of effect across, gritty, kind of desaturated look. You have a demo on that, right? I think
Here we go.
Yeah, that.
Let's go
You have a
to
couple quick-
the Nick collection. Let's go to
That'll do it.
Color Effects
Bypass,
Pro
exactly.
Pro 4 and go to Bleach Bypass. It happens to be in my favorites collection because it's one of my favorites. Dun, dun, dun. Now, I have a weird thing with mine, so I'm going to apply it. So this is a very heavy bleach bypass. Let's look and see what they're... So here's what I would do. I'm going to go ahead and apply it. Now, I just want to give you a warning. So the way my bleach bypass works is not the bleach bypass. I have to go and reinstall the plugin because this plugin's been on my drive for many years, and it applies the filter twice in a row. So it's going to apply the filter, and it's going to create a new layer and apply it again.
Well, we liked it the first time.
Right,
So we
but
might
here's
as well.
right. We should do it double it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the second one and I'm going to lower the opacity because sometimes the bleach bypass, the default amount that we use is too much.
Oftentimes, most
So
of
we're
the
just
time.
going to lower
Right.
the opacity, but at least this will give you an idea of what Michael's talking about. It won't be dead on, but it'll get us in the ballpark.
And there is a way to do it straight out of Lightroom that you did in one of your portrait retouches.
Oh, yeah, you can
the
do
guy
it.
With the guy look, the Mr. Chiselface.
Yep. And I'll show you another way you can do it too. All right, so this is the original. This is the bleach bypass, and you can see it's kind of over the top. And then you can kind of pull it off to find where that little better spot is. Maybe something in there. That's a little more like it, but that's not exactly it. Here's the other one that I do, right? I would duplicate the layer twice, and I make the middle layer black and white. Then I take the top layer and make it soft light.
Right.
And then I lower the opacity. Oh, there you go. You're
Yeah,
pretty much there.
exactly.
And then lower the opacity, I think, is it the top layer or the middle layer? It's one or the other. Yeah, this kind of gives you the desaturated skin
Right.
look. So from there to there.
Right.
So it gives you kind of a bleach bypass without the harshness of the bleach bypass.
And I think that's really going to get you into the ballpark.
Yep, there you go. It's in the ballpark. Ah, I see what you did. I see what you did there, Michael. That's good. I saw that. Okay. And so besides the fact that they did not retouch this photo, and it needs it, Not well. I guess it needs it overall, but her eyes are so dark in there.
Yeah.
Right?
Her eyes are really dark. It's also, I'm not so sure that I love how close it is. I'd like to see it maybe
That's
back a
way
little
too
bit.
bright.
Yeah. But yeah, the lighting could be dialed. And granted, the lighting, it's difficult to light somebody when they're wearing a hat or they have a helmet on, you know, to get that light in there and really brighten it up. But it looks like there's a reflector underneath, but it's really not kicking back enough. Or a secondary light source can also, if the reflector's not doing it, using an uplight can help. The angle also might, you know, help you out.
Definitely, you need something in there to
Yeah.
kind of help this whole thing out. But I agree, the whole thing's a little too close.
Yeah.
But you know, can I tell you this? So the woman that, you know, that's the senior that you shot this for probably loves the shot, right? Because this has been done, right? But would you show this to another photographer and they go, "Hey, you're on the money"? It's not getting there.
Right. But if it works for your clients, that's great. But there's always room for improvement. I think that's what we're focusing on. Okay. This image, I'm not loving the tilt. I have to say, straight out of the bat, I'm not loving the fact that the subject is just squinting. Maybe there was a bright day and they you know, were squinting. I would work to kind of correct those things. The cutting off the hand isn't really working for me
Yeah,
either.
over
It
here,
looks a little painful.
The lighting is very flat.
Right.
Where's the shadows? Where's the depth? Where's the
Right.
dimension? There's all kinds of bad things going on there.
Okay, same thing here. This is sort of a neither here nor there kind of blah image. Also, you're picking up a lot of green cast from the grass. You have to be really careful for that. You can correct for that in post, and I would definitely do
Oh,
that.
that's a bit too much.
And looks kind of flat contrast-wise. There's not a lot of contrast happening. No direction to the light, again, flat. So
There we go.
You know.
So I brightened her face and I got rid of some of the green and the overall color cast.
And, you know, in
It still
terms of the
needs work.
composition, I would probably bring it in from the left and put her head, maybe crop off some of her hair there and kind of give it a little bit more attitude for the cropping. Yeah, something like that. Make it a little bit more of a more intimate kind of moment.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah.
I think I could
It's
have gone.
not perfect,
Yeah,
but,
it's
but,
not.
but
I think
it's
I could have
more
gone
what I
a
was.
little tighter on that, on the hair. The hair looked. There you go.
Yeah. And I think
that's
that
actually a
creates
much-
something a little
much
bit more
better.
interesting looking compositionally. Again, not
So here's the after.
the
There's the
perfect thing,
before.
but it's closer.
But you know what else too? One little thing you can do that'll help with portraits is to just basically make people's face a little brighter. I know it sounds like it's cheating. It's very flattering for women to go in there and add a half a stop or a stop a light. So look at her face here, right? Even before the crop. And then this is at about a half a stop or more brighter. It's just a much more flattering. Look at her teeth look wider, her eyes look wider, the whole thing looks quite a bit wider. And that was just basically from this right here. Look at the difference.
Yeah, it's tremendous.
So
difference.
overall, the cropping, he's right. They made it a lot more of an intimate portrait. I'm sorry about that pin in her nose. That's an adjustment brush pin. Sorry about that.
popular now.
It is very popular, but it's a lot stronger photo. Michael, good advice on making it a more intimate portrait. All right, so overall, what would you tell this photographer? Work on their lighting?
Yeah, absolutely. Work on your lighting and work on your post. You know, some of the photographs look like the retouching could be a little bit stronger as well. So lighting, composition, and post.
There you go. So we've only gotten through 3, and we only have 20 minutes left in the show. So we better pick up the pace a little bit. Let's take a look
let's do
here.
it.
Let's see what we got here. So we've got her,
Maternity?
and we have her.
Okay.
Dance is very big today.
I guess so. Maternity dance.
And fireman,
Okay.
lit with gels. And beach portrait. Okay. What do you think?
I like the toning. I think the toning is interesting. It looks better on your screen than it does on the screen that I'm seeing here, where
Yeah.
it looks a little blown out.
Yeah, I think that screen's a little funky. So the screen in the studio we're looking at is a little
And
funky.
this has a little bit more contrast to it, which I like. I like it. I think that the other image the composition is a little weak. I know we're trying to move things along, so I would say to just focus on the composition a little bit. I'm not really sure what's going on with the veil. Is it a maternity picture? Is it a wedding picture? Like where does the veil
She's
come
a
into
pregnant bride.
it? Right.
Dun dun dun. Pregnant bride.
Next picture is the guy with the shotgun. Same thing here.
Lots of headroom.
Yeah, lots of headroom. I like that there's what they're trying to do with drama and pose.
Yeah, I like this
and the
part.
dramatic
Yeah.
location, positioning in terms of the perspective of the piece of land going out toward the water. I think that's all good stuff. I'd like to see the same drama that they have in the pose and the location with the lighting. There's not much going on in terms of the drama with the lighting. Also, this might work well as a black and white or having
I think
some
that's
kind of tone.
probably a natural light shot. You know, it just
Right.
looks like. You know what really would have made this photo so much more dramatic? Instead of having kind of a gray sky, a beautiful, fabulous sky would have really given this a lot of help. The problem is you get the sky you get, but sometimes you go out there and it's amazing, and sometimes you go out there and it looks like this.
Right.
The sky's not helping you at all. It's just kind of a gray, nothing sky, and so.
And that back leg being stiff and straight is
Yeah.
not helping.
Nah.
The big hand on the shoulder, you want your hands to sort of show the side, never the flat part of it. Also, that's kind of opposing. No. That was
All right.
grooving on that.
You were.
Yeah.
Big hand on the shoulder.
All right, I like this kind of an environmental portrait. I'd like to see a little bit more light on the face. I'd like to have a little bit more focus in terms of the lighting. I think this is one of those cases where a subtle vignette could help a little bit too. There's a lot of kind of light everywhere.
So I dropped some more light on his face there. You can see. Now it's kind of crude what I did, but
A little more light, like Scott is doing. A little more contrast, a little more focus to the light, the area of the light, the pool of the light, where it's falling. The use of gels is cool. Gels are really fun. I would always opt for subtlety. It looks a little bit much to my eye, but I like the use of gels. But I would just tone it down, maybe a hair.
and then now the background is it making it? Okay, hold on. Let me invert this mask here a little bit, and then we'll.
Yeah. See, now we're getting somewhere. Right.
All right, now I'm going to have you look on. Now, if you look on my screen, it looks very different than the screen studio. So look at on mine here. Let's bring it down a little. So you're still obvious that you're in a. Yeah. Now we can bring up the overall exposure a little bit. Now that whoops, I was using the wrong stuff. All right, sorry. Excuse the. All right, what am I doing, Michael? Jeez, oh, Pete, it's like my first time in Lightroom here.
You have to watch
All
Scott
right.
Kelby.
Sorry,
He's
there,
really
yeah,
good at this
he's
stuff.
something. All right, there we go. So yeah, that's
Right.
I know.
I think that see now it's moody. You want for my money, I want it moody. I want it dramatic and cool.
Yeah, it looked kind of flat. Here's before, and there's the moodiness.
Right.
So before, after. We did this using actually the radial tool, which is up here in the toolbar under histogram. The reason I'm telling you this now is because I'm embarrassed of how badly I used it a moment ago. So I'm trying to make it up like, oh, I know Lightroom. So anyway, but this is kind of a very handy filter. You get to choose, once you use it, let me just bring it out here. Once you use it, you get to choose what goes inside here or what goes outside. So I chose to leave this as it originally was and darken the area around the oval. Just because he was talking about having more contrast and more drama in there. And so inside that circle, once you click on it, you can control now we're in the outside, darkness and contrast, make it more.
Cool. I think it looks head and shoulders better. I think it's
Yeah, it was
a big
pretty,
improvement.
but that's okay. So overall, what would you tell this photographer? Here's their shots.
I would say do more environmental portraiture. I think that's your strong suit. I love what's going on with the firefighter. I think that's the strongest image.
There you go. All right. Next. All right, we got some shots here. Here's one. Here's two. Here's three. I kind of like this guy.
Yeah, kind of
Yeah, it's
lifestyle-y,
kinda-
portraiture.
Yeah, I like it.
I like these. They have attitude, and again, they go back to what I was talking about initially, which is revealing a little bit of something, providing a window into the subject that you're photographing.
Yeah.
They give you a little something about the person that you're looking at. I think overall, I like the toning also. The toning that is used on each of these is strong, and it's purposeful. That's the good word, purposeful.
Yeah. Like you could look at that guy and say something about him, like he looks like he'd be fun. He looks like he'd be crazy.
Right.
And
And
this
he's got
guy
a
looks
prop, he's
very
got his-
introspective. They have something to them.
Right.
You can look at the guy and tell what kind of person he is by the expression that he's given you. Some of the ones that we've looked at today have been very blank. You can't tell anything about the person. It's just a person and she's a dancer.
Right. And he's got the musician had a guitar behind, so you know that he's a musician. He's got the kind of rock and roll T-shirt and
Yeah.
bracelets and stuff. So I like that
one.
facial expression. It's really cool.
I like this one too.
Yeah.
I think there's some nice stuff here.
Yeah, agreed.
One of the best so far today.
Yeah, agreed.
Probably, certainly the best so far today, I think.
Good use of toning. Also, I'm a fan of that.
All right, well, we've got a guy with a weight. We call this the guy with a weight shot. What's over there?
All right. All right, so can we look at let's look at them all up. I just want to kind of get a broad view. Okay, so all studio. All right. So the lighting, all the lighting except for, say, for the first image, looks kind of flat. In the first image, at least you've got more direction happening here, but oftentimes with this kind of athletic lighting, you're going to want to employ hatchet lighting or lighting from either side on the back, just to create highlights or accent lights or rim lighting along the sides. That's one way to do it. I mean, there's a million different things you can do. But I like the fact that there's direction here, but it looks a little flat to my eye. I think that you could benefit from introducing a couple more lights just to create more dimension and volume. And highlights and shadows.
Contrast wouldn't hurt either.
Contrast, exactly. Yeah, and I'm not 100% sold on the pose either.
He's just not super digging it.
Right. Well, no, I like. There are
No,
things I like
you know
about
who
it.
doesn't
I think
like? You know who? Speaking of birthdays, Glenn Dewis does a wonderful job in lighting physiques.
Yep.
So go look at some of Glenn's. In fact, I hate to plug his class. No, I don't. I love to plug his class. Glenn Dewis did a class on Kelby 1 on
Recently,
lighting physiques.
just came online.
Yeah, it just came online on lighting physiques. Go look at Glenn's class and see how he lights stuff.
And then he's got a post-processing.
And he's got a
follow-up
post-processing.
as well.
Yeah, Glenn's the man. You know why? Because it's his birthday. It's Glenn's birthday too, yeah. All right. This is a
Okay.
whiplash patient.
Same thing here. Let's talk about the whiplash. This is like an attempt at motion. Okay, so if you're going to use motion, then really use motion. And use flash to freeze the action and drag the shutter and bring in, maybe use a constant light also, so that you have the best of both worlds. But this seems sort of like in the middle. It's not really doing one thing or the other. I'm not really getting that frozen action, and I'm not really getting all that motion. So, and plus there's no direction to the light. So I would play around with those things.
She's not giving you anything.
Right. There's not really a lot of
Just
engagement.
just a staring at the camera.
Right. On here, I'm not sure that I'm loving the double catch lights either. The gels.
Oh, only
in the background.
photographers notice catch
I
lights.
don't know, but I'm a photographer.
That's true. Good point.
I like the smoke. The smoke's cool. I'm a big fan of haze and smoke and fog machines. So that's a nice kind of evocative thing. But overall, she's not really communicating much. It's sort of like it's a test shot. She's looking. There's no direction to the light. This is very clearly the attempt is to create something very dramatic and very moody and noir. Maybe black and white would help this also. And I'd like to see a lot more contrast and a lot more shadow and highlight than I'm
I
seeing.
do like it better as a black and white. I'm not a huge black and white guy, but you know what it is? I find the blue really, you know what it is to me? And this is just me. It just looks really contrived.
Right.
So, all right. And lastly,
This, I don't even know.
Driver's license
yeah,
picture.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very flat. There's not a lot of, here's the thing. You want to have thought behind your pictures. That one that we just saw, there's thought behind it, okay? There's the light from behind. There's, maybe it's a headlight. Maybe it's a street lamp. There's fog that's been purposefully introduced. There's the gels. There's none of that.
Yeah, I'd rather have the contrived than this.
Right, in this picture, right, even though perhaps it looks contrived, you're gonna fail. I fail every day. Don't be afraid to fail. That's how you learn. But, you need to try. This is not trying. This is
not trying.
Right.
All right. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have a few more to go. And Brad says it's time for Breaky Breakalicious. We got some giveaways. Michael's here. Don't go away.
Doing the Breakalicious dance.
That was the Breakalicious dance.
Yeah.
Create your own space at squarespace.com.
Hey guys, my name is Adam Rorman. I want to welcome you to my class on shooting a music video. A music video generally has two parts to it. You shoot the band playing the song, then you shoot the separate narrative of the story that the song is trying to tell, put the two together, and that's your general recipe for shooting a music video. In this class, we're going to talk about concepts, scheduling, pre-production, securing locations, wardrobe, camera rigs, everything that you need to get creative with your DSLR. So I hope you'll come and check out my new class on kelby1.com.
Hey, welcome back. Hey, that you just saw a clip about Adam's shooting filmmaking and DSLR filmmaking and how to make a music video. Adam's a very, very talented guy, and he did a great job on that class. Even if you're not thinking of making a music video, I think you'll just find it almost like from a documentary style really interesting. Like really, the music video he created is really good. The techniques he used, a lot of clever stuff in there. Totally, even if you're thinking, I'm not gonna shoot a music video, watch the class anyway. Well, especially if you're a Kelby 1 member, you're already on there, watch it, why not?
And we're all shooting video now.
We're all shooting video except for me. Okay, want to see some good photos? We got one. Here we go. Let's take a look.
Good.
These are
nice.
very good. Talk about, Michael was just talking about, we were talking about on the break, talking about trying, how that, that last photographer stuck somebody there. Okay, let's contrast this, because this is what he was just talking about. Take a look at this shot, all right? Take a look at this shot. This is someone working hard to make the shot. Now, contrast that with this.
Right.
Do you see the gulf there between, I'm not trying, stand in front of this blue background, okay, look towards the camera, click, okay, thank you, to this.
Right.
Or this. Or even this. But especially this.
And these
This is
kinds of
good
pictures,
stuff.
these kind of pictures take effort. Like
Yes.
Sometimes you can't do it just by yourself. Maybe you have to have a team of people with you, but that shouldn't be an impediment. That shouldn't stop you. The more that you can bring to your pictures, production-wise, the better they're going to be.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Look at the thought here. So obviously this is very clear that they knew they were going to shoot in front of this door. Or they changed the color of the door in Photoshop to match her dress.
And the balloons.
But at some point somebody went and bought 12 balloons.
Right.
Those balloons aren't very expensive.
Right.
So it's not like a lot of money was spent to do this shot, but a lot of thought went into it.
Right.
And not this one necessarily. This is kind of a nice shot, but I think it's just a nice shot because the lighting is so appropriate.
Yeah.
It is a little overlit down here. So
Yeah, down by this oxide is, but and the chair could be a little bit toned down there.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that the lighting is not, again, to use that term, so brassy on the face.
Brassy. It's not
brassy.
brassy.
It's not quite
It's
brassy.
not brassy. Brassy. Sorry. Anyway, back with you live.
Right.
Hi. Hey, just real quick note. Don't listen to this anybody else. Hey, Ronaldo, switching's good today.
We're doing our British
Okay, back
impersonation for Glenn.
with you
for
live.
Glenn.
Okay, so that's kind of a nice shot. I think this is very interesting,
Yeah.
and that's nicely done.
Agreed. Yeah, this is cool. It's kind of a lifestyle, fashion, kind of catalog-y look. The curve of the architectural
Yeah, the pose
overpass
is
and stuff.
appropriate. The
Yeah,
lighting's appropriate. This is terrific.
Yeah, that's dynamite. Very
That's like
cool.
you got the bird in flight there, and her pose and all. This is like somebody really thought this out. And I like the post processing.
Real conceptual
And
piece.
this
Plus, if you just go back to that one for two seconds, Scott. Again, when we're talking about that lighting, I mean, look at the shadow, the amount of shadow, and the direction, and the transition from highlight to shadow. That's got it going on.
There's a little kicker over here.
Right.
There's a little bit of light over here too.
Right.
So anyway.
And the wardrobe, and the hairstyle, and the bird, the whole thing, the makeup.
Not just a bird, it's a dove. Released at the right moment.
Exactly.
And then shot with a double barrel shotgun.
They brought in
just kidding.
They brought in a dove handler,
They brought in a dove handler.
dove wrangler. Sorry.
All right. So what would you tell this photographer?
I would say that I think that the strongest one is going to be that blue one.
Yeah.
And I would say I'd like to see more of that. That's an interesting direction. The interesting thing is if you look at all of these images overall together, they're very different. So I think the photographer is kind of searching for their voice.
So these three here look like they were taken by the same photographer. Whereas all of a sudden you go to this regular natural
Right.
light, it's well executed. I think I would like to see the background out of focus more, but the problem is when you're this wide, it's going to be hard to get even if you're at f2.8, when you're this wide, it's going to be hard. You'd have to zoom in tighter to get the background more out of focus. But that doesn't look like that was taken by the photographer that
Right.
did this.
Right.
That looks like that photographer.
Yeah.
This looks like that photographer. Then this other one here looks like could be the same photographer. This one doesn't look like that photographer.
Right.
These two look more like they have in common.
But the blue one really pushes it, takes
Yeah.
takes everything to the
Yeah.
next level.
Yeah. Good photographer, though. Good
Yeah,
job.
absolutely.
Cheers.
Bravo.
All right. Here we go. Quickly.
Okay. Nice use of color. This is kind of compositionally. I'm not a fan of what's going on compositionally. I'd like to see a stronger composition. Yeah, that's working. Maybe tuck her in the corner a little bit more. Something like that. Yeah, that's better. Colors, maybe a little more contrast. Since it is so bright and contrasty, maybe we want to heighten that a little bit. Yeah, that's looking better.
So,
Kind of reminds me of the old Chrome kind of colors.
Chrome.
Yeah, cool. And what was there was one before this, wasn't there? Yeah. Again, very colorful. I like the blue and the pink and stuff. And she's tucked in the corner. Could be a little bit more. The leading lines of that pattern on the wall that bring you into her is cool.
That's got to go.
Yeah,
That's not helping your photo. There's a little dot that draws your eye.
Yep.
That's easy enough to get rid of, right?
Also, if you look at her eyes, the back eye is kind of getting cut off, and it kind of looks a little uncomfortable to me. I might like to turn her face just a titch, toward the camera a little bit more, just to see a little bit more of that eye. Nice kind of swimsuity catalog image. Yeah, I would work with the exposure a little bit. Her backside's looking a little blown out. Looks like there could be a little liquefy action, could help shape of the body a little bit.
Yeah, here.
Yeah, and back up
There.
there. Exactly. And I'm not really feeling it from the model. She's not really doing anything. She's kind of playing with her hair. She kind of looks disinterested. You really want to work with your models to get them engaged and to really get them to bring it. And that's key. I mean, if you just sit there and take pictures, you're not really going to. You have to really interact and make it happen and push your models. Yeah, this is nice. Window light portrait. I like it. I'm not completely sold on the positioning of the body in terms of the frame. Might like to see it a little bit lower, her a little bit higher, or something like that. You don't always have to have the head in the picture. It could be cut off, be a little tighter. Again, that more intimate kind of feeling to it. Possibly.
I think I might have gone a little too tight on that. Sorry. I like to try to leave like a third.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little. Yeah, something like that. Again, I'd like to see more. Is that the full frame? Is that?
The full frame is, whoops, I didn't. So the full frame goes all the way out to here.
Yeah.
But I can't pull anything from
I
the
know, I
other
know.
side, so she's a little tight up against
Right.
there. Yeah, all right, but it's not a bad shot, right?
No, not at all.
What do you think of this? A little-
That's not
Kind of a-
That's not bad. That doesn't really bother me. The flare doesn't bother me. It looks kind of like a something you'd see in Rolling Stone. It's got an editorial feeling to
So
it.
if this was a senior portrait photographer, these are all right,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Not bad.
Which ones? Some that I like, some that I feel are stronger than others. If we look at it overall, I think the flare shot was cool. I think the beach shot is okay. It's getting there, but it needs work. And the window light shot. Those I think are the strongest. I like the fact that the photographer is paying attention to color. I'm not saying that, but I would just
Right.
use it in different ways. I would try and make it as impactful as those other ones were.
Dig it. Let's see what we got here.
This is cool. I like this.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Moody.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Kind of a departure from the other ones, but cool. Yeah, this is good stuff. Nice. This is good. This is my favorite. That first one is going to be my favorite.
That is nice. That has a very Hollywood look.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like what you'd see in an editorial piece, like an opening spread when you talk to an actor or something. And I
If
like
you-
that.
if you like this
I like
sort
to
of
see a
thing-
little more detail, just a tad more in his outfit. That's a nice.
Yeah.
Don't go
whoever
look at that one, look at this one.
Whoever the
Yeah.
photographer is who made this, if you like this direction and this is something that you're interested in, there's a really great book called Caught in the Act. I think it's like 50 or 100 actor portraits worth looking at. Really strong work. I forget the photographer, so forgive me, but it's a really great book.
That's nice.
This is really strong. This I like also. I'm a real big fan of moody, dramatic lighting, so
Yeah.
I love this. I think this is really nice direction. This is also cool. I'm not so thrilled with the post-processing on this one. It looks a little contrasty to me. and maybe a little too tight or something. I don't know, but I think the other ones were stronger.
You know what it is? I'm okay with the post on it. This is, I think, a little too dark. If we had a little more light in here, a little more in there, and I think you're right. If you could back off a little, but I kind of like that. This one creeps me out. I'm just creeped out. Like, imagine a very pretty face there, beautiful, and then with the flowers and maybe, this is just creepy. This looks like a nightmare scene. But go ahead, Michael. You have to. That's just my interpretation of it.
Well, I think to me it looks more like a test, and I think it's good to push that. And maybe it's the start of something. Maybe it's the beginning of a direction. But it's not working. It doesn't come together holistically for me. The yellow fabric and the purple flowers, and then the kind of muddy face. I think they're all interesting in and of themselves, and maybe it could grow into something cool. But right now, it's not working for me.
I see what you did there, grow into something. I like this one.
Yeah, that's really
nice.
cool. I like that. That looks very much kind of editorial, musician kind of portrait, Erykah Badu type thing.
So overall, nice, good work.
Yeah.
Good work.
Let's put these two up together.
Yeah, those are nice. Come on, there you go.
Nice. Yeah. See, that's strong. I would work on that direction right there. Do more of that.
More of that.
That's
Those
really
are good. Good stuff. All right. We got some good photographers that popped in here, right?
Absolutely.
All right, let's see. Number 11. Uh-oh. Mike, notice how it just went completely quiet? Michael, I'll let you take this one.
Okay. Kind of headshotty stuff. This is not really working for me for several reasons.
It's not working for anybody, but go ahead.
There you go. Well, it looks very casual, first of all, because of the garment, because of the hoodie that the person's wearing. It just looks kind of snapshotty. It looks kind of deer in the headlights. The person's kind of like shocked, and it's. I'm not sure what this portrait is supposed to do. Am I supposed to hire this person? Are they an actor? Is it for a business website? What's the purpose of the photograph? I'm not clear on what that is.
Nobody is. All right.
Right. Same thing here. I think this is sort of a kind of a Peter Hurley-esque attempt. Clean white blowout background, rule of thirds kind of portrait. But again, I'm not really feeling a connection with the person. I'm a big fan of camera, not being camera aware, but it's just not working for me here. Nothing really one way or the other. This is getting closer.
That's definitely the best. The other two are.
But again, I think it needs work in post. I think it needs work in the lighting.
The hair's like, I don't know if you noticed this, but the hair is completely fried. We call it fried back here, where the lighting is so bright in the background that, look at what her hair's supposed to look like. Soft, luxurious, not crispy and burned. So.
I do love, when you look at it closer, I love the detail in her eyes, so maybe a closer crop could work or whatever, but it's just not, it needs work. And the eyes could be brightened, the teeth could be whitened.
So what are we going to tell this photographer to help them take it to the next level? Because this is not a terrible photographer. It's not like you don't know how to use your camera. I think you do know how to use your camera. What would you say? All right, if I have to work on one thing, what would you tell this photographer to work on?
Studio lighting. It looks like they want to do studio headshots. So focus on, how to light a white background. How to light a portrait for a headshot style portrait.
All right, well, we just got a few left. We're gonna make it. All right, so here we go. We'll go through these.
We're gonna
make it after all. Dun, 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 dun. Brad's going, I don't recognize that. That's before my time.
We just totally dated ourselves.
Yeah, dude.
But it's all right. If I had a
Come on, do you know?
Up in the air.
I know it.
We're gonna make it after all.
Yeah.
Brad, can you do it?
What is the show?
Is that the original Mary Tyler Moore show?
MTM, baby.
MTM,
okay.
Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah, I know.
About
I didn't
50
really
years
watch
before you were
it,
born.
but I know that I remember the theme song. Yeah.
All right, so here we go. We have this one. We have this one. We have this one. Baby!
It's a baby shot.
Yeah, overall, and I don't want to be the anti-family guy, but these look like family pictures, snapshots. Yeah. Not a lot of thought. They look great. If they were my kids, you're going to love them. They're your kids. It's hard to take a bad picture of your kid.
But you managed to. No, just kidding. Just kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke.
But
you liked it?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
That
I
was
just
good.
kidding.
I'm glad if I said that, I'd be out of here.
No, it's totally a joke.
But again, not a lot of thought behind these. It's like, hey, there's my kid. He looks great. I love
There's
him.
my
and
neighbor.
I'm gonna take a picture, and it's gonna go on a refrigerator, and that's fantastic. Or on an iPad. But in terms of a compelling portrait that's going to really, stand the test of time for someone who's not a relative, it's not really.
Could
there.
these have been taken all with your cell phone?
Absolutely.
Were these taken with their cell phone? I mean, there's nothing about it that says pro photo or good quality photo. They're just, hey, these are some pictures of my kids. This is stuff you'd throw on Facebook.
Right.
And if that's what your goal is, just I want to throw some photos on Facebook and document my life, well, that's fine. But photographically, there's just nothing going on here. They're all in focus. They're all, exposure's okay, but there's just,
Right.
they're family snapshots. And there's nothing wrong with family snapshots. Family snapshots are some of the most important shots you'll ever take.
Right.
But if you can take really interesting, beautiful shots of your family, they will stand the test of time and you'll love them always, other than saying, oh, there was John with his cap on.
So let's talk about that for a minute, okay? So if you, and that's completely fine. If you are, if you're not a pro and you just want to take family portraits, that's fine, but work on your composition. Think about rule of thirds. Think about that black and white conversion with the guy with the cap. It looked all muddy and gray.
Yeah, it was real muddy.
Right. So you can take beautiful pictures. You don't have to be a pro, but just really put some thought behind what you're doing. All right.
We'll go through them real quick. Here we go.
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Is this all the same exact?
Looks like your shot from the cover of your retouching book, the girl with the
with the
wrap.
the wrappy.
Yeah. Let's look at all of them together. Clearly, this person is trying with their lighting, and I applaud them for that. I think that's great. Some of them look a little overlit, like the third image with the woman with the black wrap. At least on this screen, it looks a little bright, a little overly lit. I love the pose. I love the wrap of the fabric. I think that is really cool. The black background, the hands, compositionally beautiful, beauty image, really
How's that?
sweet.
There's the overlit,
It's
and there's
better.
I backed it off a little bit.
Better. It still looks like it could use some sharpening. It could use a bunch of things, maybe a little highlights on the lips. There's lots of stuff.
Needs a bunch of things.
Right, but a strong direction. That's the important takeaway. A strong direction. This I'm not feeling quite as much. I'd like to see a little bit more light in the lower part of the eye, like here, but this is too much.
Yeah. So you know what's happening here? So I'm gonna guess that you did clamshell lighting. In fact, I can look inside the eyes and see you did clamshell lighting. You have a light up top and a light down bottom. The problem is your ratio on the lighting. The bottom light is too hot compared to the top light.
Right.
Uplighting people is not very flattering, and that's what's happening here. I've recognized that there's too much light. You either have them both set at the same power, or the one on the bottom is actually a little too bright. You need to reverse that ratio, and the front light should be at least a half a stop brighter than the bottom light, if not a little bit more.
Right, and sometimes even a reflector will do the trick, or a piece of white foam.
Yeah,
core.
but you can see, if you look at the eye, you
too
can
much.
see. Yeah, well, you can see there's two lights. Looks like almost a strip bank at the top, and then like a 24-inch small softbox on the bottom.
Right.
So
And typically that's reversed. Typically, you're going to put the strip on the bottom.
Right.
Right.
But you're doing clamshell lighting, and so you're in the right direction. You just really have a ratio problem with this particular shot. Really, this one is better lit, but it doesn't look like you did clamshell because I see a strip up top and nothing on bottom. Not a
Right.
reflector. Not a.
Right.
So you're getting closer here, but you got to get that ratio right. And this looks like a beauty dish. What do you think?
Right, yeah,
Beauty
beauty
dish,
dish.
straight in front, but. Something's got to be. Well, no, it's really dark under there. So that looks just like a nice big beauty dish.
Yeah.
And this one, the lighting is a bit. I don't know. It's supposed to be mysterious. Something's going wrong here. I can't quite put my finger on it, Michael.
Yeah. Well, the catch light is really low in the eyes also. Typically, I like my catch lights around,
Yeah.
10 and 2, and this is more like at the 3 o'clock position. I don't know why it's that
Yeah,
low.
why is it that low? Yeah, there's something wrong here, and I can't quite tell what it is, but maybe that's what it is.
And
is
I think
the
a beauty
lighting
dish would probably be
instead
better.
of
It's a
coming up here.
rectangular or a square box or something that's
Yeah.
getting a strange catch light. Also, overall, if you look at all of those images, the horizontal images together, compositionally, they're lacking. I mean, they're just sort of like, there's nothing going on. Like they're all just sort of direct, looking at camera, a little bit off to the side, but neither here nor there.
And no one's really engaged. There's
Right.
nobody like really giving you, like Peter
There's no
Hurley would always
attitude.
say, they're giving you nothing. They're not giving
Right.
you anything.
Right.
You can't tell anything about them. They're not dramatic. They're not anything. They're just like, look at the camera, click.
Right.
They're not giving you anything.
And I do some beauty, and you want to have people turn their heads a little bit. I mean, they don't all have to be directly looking at the camera. And sometimes, when they're not camera aware, you're going to get the strongest image. They don't necessarily have to be looking at the camera.
My favorite one is this one.
Absolutely, 100%. This is the direction. This is what you want to follow. This sort of engagement and composition and the graphical lines that's happening. You've got the line of the fabric, the line of the hands, the line of the face. All of that stuff is beautiful. That's a beautiful shot.
All right. Let's take a look at these. We got one. Okay, can I just say something? And you gotta know this, right? Your subject's blue, right? You shot him in the shade. You shot him on auto white balance. Guess what? They look blue. Does it not? Do you not see this blue? Can I tell you what? When on NCIS or CSI, when they want to make somebody dead, what do? They make their skin blue. To make them look dead. Look, you gotta. Here, just warm it up, and she comes to life. You were way off. That's too far. Let me add a little bit of this and pull off this. But look at the difference. That's blue, guys. That's just blue. That's straight up blue. Your subject's skin. I don't have the right white. That's not the right white balance. I have to mess with it for a second. That's not it. But I can tell you what.
That's not it.
That ain't it. Blue skin is never going to get you any. That's just bad. And this is always going to happen when you go under the shade, unless you switch your white balance on your camera to shade. It automatically makes it warmer, and it's going to be much more flattering for a subject. You wouldn't have a color correction problem here at all if all you'd done was change your white balance to shade when you were standing outside. Now, there's also way too much headroom and other stuff.
Right.
So,
and the flat pose, she's just kind of like stuck up against that tree and her arms back. And
lots of not good stuff happening. All right, and here.
Snapshot. We should have a snapshot stamp.
Yeah, snapshot. This is the best one of the bunch because she's kind of giving you something.
Yeah.
Her pose is a little bit interesting.
But again, it's that it's bordering on Snapshotville.
Yeah.
The hand up below the neck, also not 100% sold on that.
And guys, just so it's clear what a snapshot is a photo not taken by a photographer. It's taken by someone with a camera. It's taken by a cell phone. If you can make the same exact shot and just hold up your cell phone and go, okay, click, that's not really. You're making a photo, but I wouldn't say you're trying to make a great photo. You're not doing photography. It's not a craft. It's a tool.
Right.
It's like I made a call. Doesn't make me an operator. Holding up your phone and clicking doesn't make you a photographer. If it's a snapshot, that means you could have handed it to your cousin and they made it. Anybody could have made this shot. Anybody could have made this shot. All of these here, I was walking around and, oh, look, there's someone in a jester costume. Click.
Right. And was there thought behind what you were doing? What was the,
I'm walking through the park. She's blue too, by the way.
She's a little blue.
She's a little blue. She's a little blue. She's got a little blue. You got to do something,
now
maybe a little magenta.
Now. She's feeling better. She looks better.
Yeah, looks much better. You got to get rid of that blue. You got a white balance situation. So look, auto white balance works great outside. When you go indoors or you go under a tree or you go under some shade, you got to. In the way to set your white balance is this. I don't know what to set it at. Look up. If you see trees, set it to shade. If you see clouds, set it to cloudy. If you see a sunshiny day, put it on daylight. If you walk indoors and you see fluorescent lights, guess what? Set it to fluorescent. It's not hard to do. You just have to want to do it. You have to care enough to do it.
Right. It goes
All right. We're just about to the end here. We're already out of time, but let's give a last couple of ones here.
You're out of time, my baby. Okay.
Okay, you know what's bad here? So you got to be careful when you shoot subjects close with a wide-angle lens because you're getting distortion that's not very flattering. Right. She's got a giant glass of wine. Look at the glass is almost the size of her head. So you got it too close to the edge. Look what it's doing for her nose and her facial features. This is not a very flattering. No. You got to be careful with wide-angle lenses and shooting people. Look at her arm.
Yeah.
You've really done a disservice to her because she probably doesn't look all distorted like this in real life. Can we see that? Can you show the look there? Yeah. So you're not helping her in any way. Now, here you got back. You zoomed in tight. You still got some of the environment. This is killing you down here, though. This is messing you up.
Yeah.
So you'd have to get up just a little bit higher to get over the garbage, because that's really distracting, and this is going right over her and all that. But this is a far stronger shot than this.
Agreed.
And you know what? This should have been better because you have a great background. You have actually a really interesting background and some almost okay lighting. But boy, the wide angle is just trashing your shot.
Plus her being centered. It looks like there's a centered sort of theme going through some of these. This one, I have to say the other one, prior to this one, is so much better.
So much.
Again, color balance issues, weird color balance. She's looking a little
Why'd you
cyan.
let the light cut her right through the middle of the head?
Yep.
Right, you
And then
have
on
to
the- on
move
the
or she
sleeve,
has to
too.
move.
And on the hand.
This spackled stuff is just not helping you.
Yeah, when you're looking through that viewfinder, you really have to look at everything. Look at all four corners, bounce back and forth, do an X with your eyes across the whole frame, and look and see what's going on, because those little gotchas, you can't correct that wrist. Look at how blown out that wrist is, and that's gonna, kill you.
Yeah, that's a mess. So here you have one good shot, but here's the thing. So you know what is interesting? Your problems are all kind of technical problems. They're compositionally and they're technical. But you're not like, I don't know how to use a camera. But I just think sometimes it's just being aware what the problem is. Like, for example, here, being aware that you don't want to shoot anybody in dappled light. I talk about this in my books quite a bit. This dappled light thing, it just doesn't work. He's right. That's blown out. You cut a light right through her hair, and you had an opportunity for a nice shot. Your white balance is bluish, obviously. Her jacket's blue and stuff. Over here, you shot with just the wrong lens, just so wrong. That the wideness is distorting her and distorting everything. Here, you had all this room. Why did you cut off her elbow, and why did you cut off all this? She could have been over here. It could have been much more compelling. You could have got a little more light in here. But remember what I talked about earlier when I said if you add a little bit of light in anybody's face, it really just generally helps
Look at that.
helps it. Now that's a little too yellowish, so let's back off a little, and it's probably a little too bright. Because we don't want it to look brassy.
Brassy.
But see the difference?
Also, I would tell this photographer to investigate scrims. You can do so much with a
Yeah.
diffusion panel popped overhead. If you can't find that open shade, like in the shot
Yeah.
where her wrist is getting cut off, you just pop a
diffusion
little
panel.
diffusion panel above,
We do that
and
all
you've got
the
a
time.
natural softbox.
Brad always brings one with us, and when we see a situation like this, we immediately bring out the scrim. Last one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Again, these kind of fall into the
Snapshots.
snapshot-y, kind of snapshot.
Snapshot. Cute little girl.
Very
Everybody's.
cute. They're
These
all
are all
cute.
cute.
They're all cute
They're
kids.
just. These are shots that you could have just
snapshot-y.
taken with your Snapshot, with your cell phone. Nothing to them. Not any thought. Just, hey, my kid. Oh, they're on stage. I'll take a shot.
And the beautiful thing is, if you've got kids, they're a captive audience. They'll do all sorts of things. You can photograph them every hour of every day. So, take a little extra time. Make a really cool portrait.
Yeah, like my daughter dressed up one year and she's still very young. She's 9, but she was younger when she was 8 and 7, 6 and 5 and 4, 3. And for Halloween, she dressed up in a Cinderella costume. And I really took my time and, got out a nice lens and got down low and put her in a great position. And I kept moving her. And she was very, very patient. But I have a beautiful shot that we have framed and up on the wall because it matters. And I love that shot. Every time I see it, it just, because she really got into her role. Like once I got everything, I said, okay, now you are Cinderella. And she became Cinderella. She looks like she's got a tiara on. She looks like I am Cinderella. But it was I'm sorry. Brad is sending me a note in the middle of this. I forgot where I was. Anyway, so that's it. That's it for today. If you had to give this person any advice here, our last photographer, what would you tell them?
Take more time. Be more thoughtful about, if that's your goal. If you want, and if that's not, then compositionally. I think, that they could be a little stronger. The strongest composition for me is the little girl tucked in the corner because she's got a nice sort of elongated linear shape, and that's interesting. Your eye definitely is drawn more to her than any of the others, which are more central.
I agree. Hey, okay, so what did I want to tell you? We're going to do some giveaways. And also I want to mention, every Thursday, which is tomorrow, we have new classes come out. Tomorrow we have the business side of John Keatley. So I think you saw the the trailer for John's thing earlier, and also shooting fashion on location with Frank Doerhoff.
Frank, we love
Frank
Frank.
is awesome. Frank's an awesome
Frank's the
guy, an
man.
awesome photographer, and Frank is a wonderful teacher. So these are on kelby1.com. You can watch either class for $20, or while you're there, since you just paid $20, you get a whole month of Kelby One. You can watch all the classes, everything you want, 500 more than 500 classes for that $20 for 30 days. So if you're thinking, it's worth $20 to learn that
Sounds
stuff,
like a deal to me.
it's not just one class, it's everything. So go check that out. Hey, our friends at peachpit.com give us a deal to give us 40% off of a book. This week's book is... Oh, this is good. Sketching Light. This is McNally's book, right? Isn't that McNally's?
Oh, you bet it is. Yep.
Yeah, that's Joe's book. That's Sketching Light, an illustrated tour
great book.
of the possibilities of Flash by Joe McNally. Yes, it is. That's a tremendous book.
Yeah.
So our ebook deal from Peach Pit is 40% off. Go to peachpit.com/Kelby1, and your discount code is Kelby1. You get the book for $23.99.
Nice.
All right. Now, for our giveaways, these are signed copies, by the way, of my book. So our prizes are, how to do that in Photoshop, signed by me with a special sticker on the front that says, signed by the author. Ooh, that's so special. That should actually get you a discount. Then also Corey's book, Photoshop Down and Dirty Tricks for Designers, but it's an awesome book for photographers. I wish we had kind of named it differently. All right, so there you go. That's what's going on. Now, we're also going to give away a ticket to my Phoenix seminar. I'll be there. Brad Moore will be there, beard and all, in Phoenix next Tuesday. So Tuesday, the 22nd in Phoenix. By the way, thanks. People were trying to help me get a car to shoot because I saw an automotive studio there, and they let me shoot in there. And last time I shot a Cobra, like a classic Cobra, and a Corvette. This time I'm shooting a Maserati.
Nice.
So we'll be shooting some cars there after my seminar.
Love shooting cars.
And so if you want to come to the seminar, it's that day, the 22nd, next Tuesday. Join me and Brad for a day of love. All right. So here's how you enter the contest. Go to kelby1.com/contest. And tell us what show you're watching. By the way, you're watching The Grid. Put in your name and stuff. But here's what's important in the comments field. Tell us which one of those prizes you want to win. Seminar ticket to Phoenix, Down and Dirty Tricks for Designers, or the How Do I Do That in Lightroom, not Photoshop, Lightroom. Okay, so that's it. Send it to us, and then you're entered, and we'll let you know next week who won. Lastly, Michael, where can people learn more about you?
MichaelCorsentino.com. That's my website. My commercial site is about to launch right now. That's just going to be my older wedding work. But I think some of my images were rolled during the show.
I have no idea.
Anyway,
she says a lot of things.
Facebook.
She's going on
Definitely look me
vacation
up on
tomorrow.
Facebook, and my Instagram is @Corsentino. Oh, there we go. There's some of the images.
Oh, now look at this lighting. Can
is-
I do a critique? Excellent. Excellent. Very good. Terrific. Perfect.
And that's
Wonderful.
all those are just reflectors, scrims and reflectors.
Excellent. Perfect. Dynamite. Yeah, we didn't see any photos like that today. All right, hey, that one's a little brassy. Go back. But that's okay if that's what
I
you were
wanted
going
brassy.
for.
It was going for
If
brassy.
you're going for brassy,
It was
it's
brassy.
awesome.
Brassy or bust.
That's brassy.
Yep. That's bare flash.
Yeah, that's okay. If that's what you were going for, it's awesome then. Ooh,
And that's that
nice.
dancer image I was talking about
That's
before.
very nice. That's very nice. What kind of?
Those are the Elinchrom ELCs.
That's what I used to do mine.
They're
I use the ELCs and the
Yep.
ELC 400s, or the ELB 400s.
They
I
rock.
used. Yeah,
They
there
rock.
you do. All right. Well, Michael.
Oh yeah, Mark Asman was down. He told me he was down here working.
Mark's a
with
good
me.
man.
Yeah, he is.
He's a fine man.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, the time has come for us to go. Michael, you were wonderful.
Thank you. Thanks for
You're a
having me.
beautiful man. Go check out his work. And of course, he's going to be having a class here on Kelby One very shortly. We're
That
excited
I am.
to have him on here. Thanks to the beautiful Mr. Brad Moore. Thumbs up from Brad.
There you go.
Brad, where can they go see more of your concert photography? Brad's a concert photography specialist.
BeMoreVisuals.com, but if you just go to bradsbeard.com or bradtakespictures.com, that'll get you there too.
How about bradmeanslove.com?
No comment.
Dude, it's not too late to register Brad Means Love. All right, guys. Hey, I also want to invite you to follow me on Instagram. I've been putting stuff up there every single day. Travel photos, sports photos, and some people in fashion stuff. So that's
Follow me on Instagram as well, @Corsentino.
There you go. I'm @Scott Kelby. Brad's @Brad. Nope, you're not on this. What are you? Be More Visuals on Instagram? That's easy to remember.
Yep. Be more visuals.
I like that.
Be More Visuals. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next week
Thanks,
live.
guys.
No, I won't be here next week.
Neither of us
Bring
will
the
be here
jib
next
back
week.
down. I'm not here next week. We're in Phoenix.
We are. We're coming back from Phoenix next
We're
week.
flying. Well, Brad, who will be here? RC will be back?
RC will not be here. Pete, Corey, and Mia have it under control.
Oh, Pete, Corey, and me will be here next week. By the way, I've heard they have it under control, so I feel pretty good about it.
Okay, bye.
Okay, thanks for watching. Take care, everybody. We'll see you guys maybe in a couple weeks.